Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football channel. Today we're going to be talking a bit of Chelsea news. We're going to try and lighten the mood. Can we do that? Is it easy? Is it possible to lighten the mood after two back-to-back defeats at Stamford Bridge? Brentford battered us. Real Madrid, they didn't batter us, but they convincingly beat us. And we've got to start looking forward. But no, that isn't possible because there's a delay. There's a delay in the takeover process, which now means it's predicted a decision will be made in May. So now that we know that we can't really bring false or forced good news right now, there is some good news, and that is that once again, I'm back on Last Fan Standing with Bet Victor. I'll leave a link in the description. This is one of the clips. We're talking about who is the biggest flop of the season. Mason, come here. Come up. Okay, he's gone and hid under the table now, but I'm going to roll the clip.
Ronaldo's the biggest flop of the season because...
The disgrace.
No, but look, this is the problem with Man United. You can't even recognise what he's done because he scored goals and he is the top goal scorer. Too busy jumping around in the car park shouting Sue to realise that he's totally brought down Man United Football Club. One transfer and to completely undermine everything. Lukaku's been rubbish, make no mistake about it. Of course he has.
Paul said that it was Ronaldo. I defended Lukaku, and then he goes and does that against Real Madrid. So go check the full link in the description to the full episode. But the news is breaking that at the moment, they're going to need more time to make the decisions. The Premier League process of scrutiny, which is basically the Premier League checking that whoever the Rain Group pick is actually legible in a sense to take over Chelsea, in the sense of they're going to be good owners with footballing morals and footballing progressions in mind. This means, in my opinion, the current issues surrounding Chelsea are going to continue, because the longer there is uncertainty about who's taking over, the longer it goes where we can't let players like Rudiger, if he wants to sign a new deal, sign a new deal. And I do want to just shove something under the bus that came up in the news. Don't even want to quote it from anywhere, but some people were saying that Rudiger didn't purposely go in full to tackle Benzema because he was worried about an injury and how that might affect a transfer. Please don't let any of this kind of journalism take away from anything that might make you not want to back Rudiger between now and the end of the season. Rudiger's been the best player at Chelsea, in my opinion, under Thomas Tuchel, and I think he's going to give his absolute best. And even so, he wants to win the Champions League again. If he's going to sign for Real Madrid again next season, we saw how good they are the other night. It's not like he might not never be able to win it again if he leaves Chelsea. So we don't want any of that to cloud any of the way we treat players or the way that we react to things happening right now in the Chelsea community, because the longer the takeover takes, the less likely it is that we're going to be able to really push immediately to get our top targets come the end of the season. The actual bid that goes through is announced come the end of May. We don't exactly know how easy it's going to be for Chelsea to just simply go out there and spend money in the summer. All of the Chelsea success periods have come with transfer windows where we get business done early, so that when the manager has the team available, when they return back for pre-season, everybody's there. We're not waiting for new signings to come through the door, and as well with contracting situations too. If Rudiger doesn't sign, we're left with a huge sticky situation. We're left with a huge sticky situation because we've then got to sign probably 2 or 3 new centre-backs, which would then leave us unable to go out and spend money on a defensive midfielder. If you watch the 6 Things We Learned video from the game against Real Madrid yesterday, I said that it looks as though Chelsea will need to go out and buy a defensive midfielder this summer. I do think Jorginho might move this summer if he doesn't get that much game time between now and the end of the season. And I'm also slightly concerned, before we go on and talk about more of the statements coming out from the Rickets, in regards to these accepted or non-accepted bids, it is still very much looking like the Todd Boehly consortium or the Ricketts family are the most likely ones at this moment in time. We're not hearing any public news about any of the other ones, but the one concern I do have is the shift from Thomas Tuchel in the past couple of days. Since those 2 bad results, it's been very much something we've not seen from Tuchel before, where he's kind of publicly slating the players, which is always concerning because you never know with Chelsea squads. Will they turn against the manager? I highly doubt they're going to turn against this guy. But with all of the stress that Tuchel's under, now from results on the pitch too, and player performances just seeming to capitulate in the past couple of games, the pressure off the field of having to go through a divorce is not a nice thing. Not that I've ever been divorced, but my parents got divorced, and as a kid it wasn't nice. And when you're a man in the public eye who has to keep an eye on what he says, who's very good usually at navigating interviews and answering questions in a very, very approachable manner, when you're getting divorced off the field, when you've got all of the uncertainty about takeovers, about how we can invest in the squad in the future, who knows what is going to happen when any of these potential bidders come in? Are what they're saying just simply a way to try and get hold of Chelsea, and then next thing we know, we go down a similar path of ownership that other Premier League clubs have gone down, we don't spend money properly? He doesn't know. And the longer this goes on, and the more results seem to also be teetering towards, it's getting bad, 7 goals conceded in 2 games, no wins, almost out the Champions League. If it keeps on getting worse, then there's going to be a big, big problem here, because Thomas Tuchel will not know exactly what he needs to do. So to really wrap up my point, I think what I am concerned about here is that the longer this process takes, and now having to wait till May, it's only going to keep on a spiraling effect of negativity and pressure on our manager. And I don't want to start being a little bit too negative here. You guys know I'm usually the optimist here on this channel, but I don't want it to get to a point where Thomas Tuchel is so up in the air and he ends up walking out the door by himself. I don't think it's going to happen. It is a massive devil's advocate thought of mine right now of worst case scenarios, but I just hope that whatever happens, and no matter how many times this process keeps on getting delayed, as long as Thomas Tuchel isn't left in the dark, then I think we should be fine. But I want to finish today by talking about the comments that have been made by Laura Ricketts. She is a part of the Ricketts family. As we know, the Ricketts family are one of the 2 favoured parties at the moment, from what we understand. This seems to be bugging me more and more, because as we always know, when you want something in life, this isn't just about spending billions of pounds. When you really want something, and it's up to somebody else to either give it to you or not give it to you, you're going to go out of your way to always say and do all of the right things in order to be able to give yourself the maximised chances of actually obtaining what it is you are looking for. Now, Laura Ricketts, it's come here from Nick Purewall. Laura Ricketts has revealed fighting discrimination and bigotry as her life's work, amid a candid message to Chelsea supporters. See, obviously this is everything we want to hear, right? We've already gone out there and protested against the Ricketts family, saying we don't want the Ricketts family to own Chelsea Football Club. We don't want them in charge of our club. And of course now, they're going out and trying to say all of the right things in order to obviously get Chelsea fans on side. But the position I'm in at this point now, where it is actually a plausible thing that the Ricketts family could take over, it's very, very easy for people to just jump on my back and say, you posted hashtag no to Ricketts all the time, and all of a sudden you start supporting the club again and it doesn't matter anymore. I want to make this clear here now. I still don't want the Ricketts family to take over Chelsea Football Club. I still don't think that the way that Roman Abramovich has just had the club stripped of him is fair whatsoever. But I will say this, whoever takes over Chelsea Football Club, I will continue to support and continue to promote supporting the club until we cease to exist. It's not about hypocrisy. It's not about being a hypocrite because you didn't want the Ricketts and now you still celebrate when they go and spend money in the summer, if this is to happen. Please, guys, I know there's a lot of people out there who aren't stupid enough, I'm going to say, to jump the gun with these kind of comments, to jump the gun with these kind of beliefs. But it is absolutely key to note that we, as fans, can have a say, but we do not make the decision in this process as to who takes over Chelsea. So Laura Ricketts making these comments doesn't surprise me in the slightest. Do I buy it? Not yet. I think that there's been too much done and too much said in the past and too many examples of how this family owns sporting entities, what they say in emails, off fields. There's too much there for me to not back this campaign when there are clearly better ones involved. However, if it happens, I'm still a Chelsea fan. I won't be happy about it. I'll vocalise my opinion, but still, I don't want to keep seeing this, oh, you're a hypocrite, you know, we can't say good things about them once we've already gone back and said hashtag no to Ricketts. No one's saying that. But at this point in time, we can still only speculate. And they're saying the right things. Doesn't mean that I forgive them. Doesn't mean that I back them. But they're clearly trying to say the right things to get on side with Chelsea fans. And like I always say, as much as I'm not buying into it, always question it. Always look into it. It's what I try and promote from like a philosophical mindset point of view away from football. Not just in these stories, but in all times and in all conversations of life. But anyway, going to wrap this video up here. Massive game tomorrow. Southampton away. Preview will be out in the morning. Come on, you Blues.